Hello, how are you today? This is Pastor Peter Christian Hessing. And I'm hoping that you're having a God blessed day, that you're seeking God, and everything is going well with you. And it's very important that we seek God, Jehovah, Yahweh, Elohim, Jesus. The world really needs a Savior, and Jesus is that Savior. Jesus came, as it says in the New Testament, John 3:16, that God sent His Son into the world to save the world, and whosoever believeth in Him will have everlasting life. It's very important that we seek God and also accept Jesus, because Jesus is the only one that has been sent as a prophet to save us from death, so we can overcome death and gain everlasting life. Jesus really comes to save the entire world. A lot of prophets had different their different missions. God sent them to different missions. Moses to lead people out of Israel, and Esther, who was sent to save her own people. Where Daniel helping them to come out of Babylon. Where Nehemiah rebuilding the temple. Where Jesus is sent to save us and give us everlasting life, save us from death, and prepare everlasting life and peace. Now we have a very sorry. We're having a very important presidential election coming up here in America. We have two candidates. We have Hillary Clinton, who was a former Secretary of State. She's been nominated by the Democratic Party. She's the first woman nominated by a major political party in American history. And if she wins, she will be the first U.S. American president. And that's a great advance in equal rights for women and for all people. She has tremendous experience. She was a Secretary of State. She was also a U.S. Senator. She was also First Lady. And she was also the wife of Governor Clinton when he was governor. So she has tremendous experience that can help us improve America and make the world a better place. For the Republicans, we have Donald Trump there. He is you can say, billionaire businessman there. We have had some other party candidates there, Libertarian Party and the Green Party and so forth. I mean, you may look at how other candidates running also who are not as popular as these candidates. I'm a pastor. I try to stay out of politics. A pastor really has to do what God and Jesus, or what the Holy Scriptures tell him to do, to really bring people together, regardless of they're Democrats or Republicans, whatever their political persuasions or whatever their race, black or white or nationality or brown. The pastor really has to try to bring people together regardless of their political belief, whether they're Democrat or Republican or independent. I'm really registered as an independent right now. First, years ago, I was registered as a Democrat. When I became registered as a Republican, and now I'm registered as an independent. I try to really stay out of politics. I try to stay out of this political campaign here in 2016. It has been very divisive. I think even more than when President Obama was running. And I tried to stay out of it. It become very divisive and sometimes very very controversial. and there has been a lot of, we can say, aggressiveness on the part of the Republicans and on the part of Donald Trump. But now, as the election approaches, we are now coming to the end of September and October. As a pastor, I have to speak out. I think we have to take an honest evaluation of the policies of the candidates that are running for president to make sure that we can elect the right president based upon the policies and ideas of these different candidates. I know Jesus said and told us there in St. John, they're going back to St. John, 21, 18, 19, and 20, where he told us that he was going to send us the Holy Spirit, and that Holy Spirit is the Spirit of truth. And he said, whenever the Holy Spirit comes, it would give us truth, and that's what we have to do. We have to truthfully look at the policies of both candidates, Hillary Clinton running for the Democrats and Donald Trump running for the Republicans. The first thing I really want to address is the healthcare. Everybody needs healthcare. Jesus spent time on earth, and he spent years healing people, healing the sick, giving sight to the blind, or making lame people walk, curing people from all these diseases, even raising people from the dead, as he raised up Lazarus from the dead. So it's very important that everybody has health care. And I strongly feel that we have to keep the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare, and that is something that Hillary Clinton has decided that she wants to keep, and we have to improve on it. Things would have been worse off without health care. More people would have no health care, and healthcare premiums would be much more expensive as they now are. If we didn't have Obamacare, we have to improve on it, and we have to try to make it less expensive for those who have it to be too expensive. And we have to really encourage the healthcare insurance companies to stay on the various exchanges. We might have to give them a tax cut or a tax credit, give them incentives so we have more health insurance companies remaining on the healthcare exchanges in all the 50 states, so everybody can have a choice of a low-cost healthcare. The Republicans on the other side, Donald Trump, they are very opposed to having healthcare. And Donald Trump has said that he wants to do away with healthcare. That's a very bad idea. If you do away with healthcare, as Trump and the Republicans are talking about, millions, probably between 20 million to 100 million people will lose healthcare. And that's a very bad idea, the Republicans and Trump, they don't have a policy that can replace the healthcare affordable care program. That means that millions of people are going to be without health care, and millions will die for lack of health care. So we must keep health care. I try to look at some of these policies and look at them without getting angry or having hatred or really trying to get too upset about it. But we are the only country in the world where a lot of people don't have a healthcare program, where people in the government oppose people having healthcare. It's very bad that the Republicans want to do away with healthcare. That over 129 or 30 million people now can have healthcare. People who have pre-existing conditions now can have healthcare. Over 130 million people are there. Can have healthcare. So it's very bad that the Republicans are against healthcare, um, and I think you have to look at it. I think it's very prejudicial. I want to. I think honestly, I think the reason why the Republicans are against healthcare and they don't want the poor people to have healthcare. Um, One of the very reasons is because they want to basically exterminate the poor, the black, the blacks, the African Americans, the Jamaicans, the West Indians, the Haitians, the Hispanics, because they feel that these poor people are going to vote Democratic. And a lot of people might not like my assessment of it, but that's the very truth. A lot of these policies that Republicans claim are not prejudicial, they're not discriminatory, they're not racist, are really, I think, are very prejudicial, they're very discriminatory, and they're very racist. Because the main reason why the Republicans, Donald Trump, and a lot of the Republicans in the Congress are so much has fought against healthcare after the Supreme Court has ruled 2-3 times supporting it is because they feel that the people who will get healthcare will live longer, and that these people are really African Americans, West Indian Americans, Jamaican Americans, Haitian Americans, Hispanics, and that this percentage of the population is going to vote Democratic. So they're really trying to exterminate the poor people who they feel will vote Democratic from getting health care. And that's one of the reasons why the Republicans are so against having this healthcare program that provides healthcare for millions of poor people, because they feel that they can exterminate millions of poor who will vote Democratic, and that's why the Republicans are so against. That's my honest evaluation. A lot of people might not feel that. I think one of the reasons is really it's a very discriminatory, prejudicial, and racist attempt by the Republicans to exterminate a large part of the population, millions of the poor population, because they feel that they will vote Democratic. Okay, we move on now to what Trump is talking about here about cutting taxes, the Republicans cutting taxes, and a lot of the tax reductions that he is talking about, it is really going to cut taxes for the wealthy. Republicans have talked about this over and over again. This type of trickle-down economics has not really worked. He's saying that by reducing taxes for the wealthy, then the wealthy is going to take more money and it's going to trickle down to the poor. This has never worked. And you can go back to the Depression with the Hoover and Harding and all these guys. This Republican policy has never worked. It has led us into recessions and depression. You go back to the Great Depression, the same philosophy. You go back to all of these presidents that we have had there. You've had even Reagan also had a recession. Reagan also had a crash in the financial markets. Bush also, the first Bush also had a crash in the savings and loans markets, trying to put forward the same policy. And also the previous Bush, the next younger Bush also, is the same very policy, trickle-down economics, that led us to a crash, a recession, and economic meltdown. This type of trickle-down economics that Trump is talking about, giving tax cuts to the wealthy, and they're going to put money in, and that's going to generate. It has hardly ever worked. It has probably never even worked nationally in America. It has only led us to economic depressions and recessions and the crash of the financial markets. And this is the same thing that the previous George Bush recommended: cutting tax for the wealthy of having it trickle down, removing all the financial controls that have prevented Wall Street and the stock exchanges and the economy from crashing. He wants to take away a lot of the controls of Dodd Frank and so forth that prevents these big banks and big institutions from making risky investments that cause a crash in the markets. Of course, he has already stated that he doesn't care if the market goes down. He has said it in the very debate on Sunday, on Monday with Hillary Clinton, that he doesn't care if the markets crash because he will be able to buy up properties and investments cheaper. He really doesn't care, which is a very bad um, response by him, a very bad example that Trump is really setting. He said that he really doesn't care if the market goes down because everything will be cheap. So all these policies that Trump is recommending is really going to lead us into more recession and debt. And then he is talking about deporting 11 million people out of the country, which every economist is saying is going to cost us hundreds of billions of dollars in debt and probably trillions of dollars in debt. This, to me, is like another Holocaust where Hitler deported the Jews to labor camps. And then he wants to say that he wants to change the Constitution so that babies born here will not be American citizens. To me, again, it's a form of discrimination. It's a form of prejudice. It's a form, a very clear form of you can call it ethnic cleansing. It's a very form of it's, it's racism. It's racism. I strongly feel that he is really trying to get rid of the people who are who are non-white, trying to get Hispanics out, trying to deport blacks and West Indians and Africans and so forth. A lot of these people qualify to become American citizens under the Constitution, as it is stated in the Declaration of Independence, where we hold these rights to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that we have inalienable rights. It's very, I think, very prejudicial and very discriminatory that Trump now is trying to tell about he's going to deport all these people out of the country, and everybody's telling him that it's going to lead to a great debt. And he's going to try and change the Constitution that if babies born here won't be American citizens. That to me is another example of discrimination, prejudice, and racism. I strongly feel that we can't let Donald Trump get away with this. I don't hate Donald Trump. I have no reason to hate him, but when you truthfully look at all these policies and some of the policies of the Republican establishment and the Republican politicians, they claim they're not racist. They claim it's not prejudice, it's not discrimination. But these policies, clearly, it's a kind of hidden, silent, quiet a form of racism and discrimination. And everybody's telling him that trying to deport all these people, he's going to set up a special force again to go knock on people's door. I was born in Jamaica, and I have been in America over nearly 40 years. I became an American citizen in 1976, the bicentennial of the American independence. Near July 4th in 1976, I became a U.S. citizen. They regard us as bicentennial Americans, and our naturalization papers, you have the red, white, and blue deal that celebrates the 200th anniversary of America's independence. there. And a lot of these people that he's trying to deport would qualify to apply for citizenship, would qualify to apply for green cards, and I think they have a right to do that. There, and I have a right to have equal opportunity there in America. There, so I think that we really have to hold Trump accountable. He's going to deny that he said a lot of these things. We can move on from there and we can go on to the environment. God gave us this beautiful planet. He gave us this beautiful planet, and we can only survive if we have clean water and clean air. We have to clean up the environment. Donald Trump doesn't believe in global warming. He doesn't want to clean up the environment. He and the Republicans there. There, we have to clean up the environment. President Obama has made great progress in trying to clean up the environment, trying to get these coal companies to use cleaner technology. There, he has also been able to negotiate these international agreements with other countries like China and Brazil and all these other countries in Europe and Asia and Africa to reduce emissions. We have to clean the environment. Trump is against that. He wants to let the coal companies and oil companies keep polluting the environment. The environment is the most important thing. Clean water and clean air, we need that. If our children and grandchildren are going to be able to live in a healthy environment, we have to clean up the environment. So there again, I cannot support what Trump is advocating. We need to clean up the environment. And with the warming, we have the ocean levels rising. People are being flooded out of their homes. What we really need to do is to get the oil companies who have all the resources to desalinate some of the water and reduce the rise in the ocean levels. The oil companies can store it for the water, and they can purify it, and they can sell it to drought countries, sell it to states like California. There are a lot of countries in Africa and Asia where people are dying to have clean water. We really have to get the oil companies and other companies to desalinate the ocean levels, purify the water levels, and they can sell that clear water to other places that need clean water. In fact, they would probably make more money from purifying and the ocean levels and selling the water than from drilling for oil and natural gas in some cases. So what we really need to do is to sit down with the oil companies when we have to give them leases to drill out in the ocean and drill in other areas and say, okay, you want to drill out in the ocean? We can give you a lease, but we want you also to purify some of that water. You can store it and you can sell it. We can build a reliable and environmentally system of purifying the ocean levels and selling that water to reduce the ocean levels. So that is what we really need to do. So I can't support Trump and the Republican policy of just not trying to clean up the environment, letting the coal companies and all the big companies just keep on polluting the air. That is completely unacceptable. God gave us this beautiful planet and told us, if you read Genesis, to take care of this planet. We have to save the planet. Another thing that we have to do and have to deal with Donald Trump and the Republicans, he wants to blame what's happening in the Middle East on the Democrats. If you go back, the entire Middle East, Iraq was really invaded under the Bush administration. What is happening in the Middle East is a result of all of the Republican policies that failed. Mistakes made by the Republican. It was the previous Republican President George Bush who invaded Iraq. It was under President Bush that we had 9/11, that the terrorists attacked the World Trade Center and killed over 3,000 people. All of these policies go back to mistakes that have been made by the Republicans. The reason why North Korea now has nuclear weapons is because of the failings of the previous Bush administration. When former President Clinton was in office, he negotiated a program with North Korea where North Korea would actually give up enriching uranium. He would negotiate a program where North Korea would stop using those nuclear reactors to enrich uranium. When Bush came in, Bush refused to continue that agreement and refused to negotiate it. And so North Korea went on to build nuclear weapons, and now North Korea is threatening us by building now intercontinental ballistic missiles that now can reach us here in America. So all the problems in the Middle East, North Korea, all of that springs from mistakes that the Bush administration, Republicans, made. And Donald Trump and the Republicans are advocating the very same thing. The reason why Trump can't release his strategy against ISIS is because he and the Republicans' only strategy against ISIS and the Middle East is to send more American troops into the Middle East. That's the strategy that the Republicans have advocated all of it. The Republicans have advocated, and that is what Trump really wants to do. And we have to really get that out of them. We have to really call them on that they want to send more American troops into the Middle East, and that is what Trump and the Republicans have advocated over and over. That is not the solution to the Middle East. We sending more American soldiers to the Middle East is only going to start a religious war between Christians and Muslims. It's not the solution. We have to continue and move forward with the plan that President Obama has been doing, is helping these countries, Iraq, the Kurds, Syrian forces, to be able to fight the terrorists by giving them training and the equipment, and help giving them the intelligence and air power to overcome ISIS and the other terrorist forces. We sending thousands and thousands of American soldiers back to the Middle East is not the solution. You're only going to wind up turning these Arab and Muslim populations against us, because they're going to start saying that we Christians are the enemy, and we are not the enemy. We have to continue training them and letting them be able to fight with the ISIS and fight these terrorists. And now you see that they are coming together, and they are gradually coming together to defeat ISIS, and they are now coming together to drive ISIS out of Mosul and Raqqa. But what Trump and Republicans have advocated over and over, you can go back to all of them. If you go back to, if you listen to what Senator Graham was saying, and a lot of the Republicans are saying, their policy is to send more and more American soldiers to the Middle East. So we don't really need to do that. We really need to build what we used to go to a robotic military that can rescue civilians, and that is something that we're talking more about. That we have to use our technology and going to save robotics that can rescue civilians. A robotic system that's based upon rescuing civilians, uh, uh, it will be a very effective system in saving the lives of our veterans and fighting these terrorists. So I definitely can't support Donald Trump and the Republican policies. Then again, he has said already that he doesn't really support our alliance. He doesn't believe in NATO. He doesn't believe in our Asian alliances, dear. And that is very, I think, a very bad policy. It's a very bad example because you're really telling these people in Europe and in Asia who have been our friends and allies that you really don't like them. You don't really, you really don't love them. If you're in a relationship, money is important. But in any relationship, you have to have a heart love for these people. In a relationship, we have to love. The only way that we're going to survive is to bring all the peoples of the world together. Americans, Russians, the British, the French, the Germans, the Indians, the Pakistanis, the Chinese, the Koreans, Africans, Jamaicans, West Indians, African Americans, Hispanics, Mexicans, Brazilians, bring all the peoples of the world together. We have to live as a family. And here's Trump saying, well, he doesn't care for these alliances. And I think one of the very reasons why he doesn't care for these alliances is because he wants to use American soldiers out there. We need to have these alliances so that we don't have to send American soldiers out there. So I definitely cannot support. I think it's a very bad idea. I think Hillary Clinton, the Democrats, are much a better policy of trying to train these governments, give them intelligence and help power, and let them learn to defend their own countries. We can't police the world. So, as I said, we have to play together. We can elect the right people. I do think that Hillary Clinton is her policy and her philosophy of trying to help everybody, bring everybody in. It's good. I mean, Trump has been endorsed by also all these racist groups. The Ku Klux Klan. He wants to claim he has all these endorsements, but he has really been endorsed by a lot of the racist groups. You have the KKK, the people who have endorsed a lot of the racist groups. I, as a black, I couldn't go to a Trump rally. How many blacks can go to a Trump rally without being thrown out or beaten? We can't support a president that really is really so opposed to diverse people. That is so opposed to diversity. I really want to ask him how many black executives has he had in his organization. So, we definitely can't support a person that is so against diversity. And he made a statement there that he doesn't mind more countries acquiring nuclear weapons. I'm a patent inventor, and I've spent a lot of my life trying to design a system that can protect us against nuclear war and nuclear disarmament. The only way you're going to have nuclear disarmament is to have a 24/7 system of international inspections by the International Atomic Agency of all the nuclear weapons in the world, so that if you have a 24/7 inspection by the International Atomic Agency, you'll be better able to prevent any country from using nuclear weapons. So we have to reduce the amount of countries that have nuclear weapons, not let more of them acquire nuclear weapons as he is talking about. I told you that we invented and designed a system of that We applied for some patents on it. We have two patents that we applied for. This is a very recent patent we filed this year, which is a 6237335. That's the patent application number. And we have a one that we found many years ago, 06695536. This is an expanding system, expanding missile. This is an expanding drone that can basically expand just the way it can receive incoming nuclear missiles. And Russia now has a Sabat missile 15 nuclear warheads. And you also have North Korea with this Taide Dawn and Musa Dawn nuclear missile. This system can expand, it can absorb these incoming nuclear missiles, and you have airbags inside of it. We got several copyrights on it, and years ago now I've been trying to get the US government to build this expanding missile, but I guess they never really have understood what I'm talking about. This system can absorb these missiles coming in. So say Russia has a Saman missile that comes in, this system can take it in. You got like airbags and water bags inside that cushion the effect of that this incoming nuclear missile. But once the missiles come in, you have power saws, power metal saws that will cut off those incoming nuclear missiles. And then once you cut off those missiles in half, once you can cut those nuclear missiles, and you can boomerang them back, you can send back these nuclear missiles to Russia into North Korea or China or Iran, any country that launches them. So if Russia was to send out all of these 15 Samat missiles, we can actually, this system is designed to actually cut off those 15 nuclear missiles, send them back to Russia. We have to seek peace with the Russians and the North Korea to get a new nuclear missile and treaty, but we have to go towards these what I call boomerang systems. We're coming into a nuclear missile boomerang age where countries are going to be able to boomerang nuclear missile by cyber technology. As you can see now that they can make rockets go in two directions. They can make rockets go up and they can make rockets go down. They can make rockets go to the east and they can make rockets go to the west. And that means that you're going to be able to send back nuclear missiles. So we're definitely coming to this nuclear missile boomerang age where it is no longer feasible for countries to have nuclear weapons. So we need to make sure that anybody who becomes our next president, whether we have President Clinton or Donald Trump, we negotiate a new 24/7 disarmament treaty with all the countries, Russia, China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, Britain, France, America, all the countries in the world to have a 24/7 system and massive reductions in nuclear weapons. Whether we have a 10% reduction a year, 10 years we have 0 nuclear weapons, or we can go down to a safe amount, whether we want to go down to 300 or 200 or so, we can go down to this. But we really need to cut the amount of nuclear weapons and cut the arsenals down. Really, probably about 15,000 nuclear missiles in the arsenals, and these arsenals are probably more dangerous than the operational nuclear missile because they can drop bombers like Hiroshima bombs. Those 15,000 nuclear bombs in the arsenals are like 15,000 Hiroshima bombs. So we really need to cut those arsenals down also. We need also to have a treaty that bans the destructive power of the nuclear weapons. Say for these countries you can build nuclear weapons beyond a certain kiloton or megaton. Be able to do that also. So I really think I'm going to talk more about that. Everybody has to make up their mind who they're going to vote for in this election. But I really think that Hillary Clinton, the Democrats, are better They have a better program. They want to raise the minimum wage, create more jobs for the poor. I really think that we really need to create 40 million online businesses for the 40 million poor people to know. That's 40 million jobs, and we can build a system where we can prevent these businesses from going bankrupt. We can write a computer program that says, okay, you have a business, but you can't spend more than so much of your whole. You don't have that. Okay, so thank you. I hope everyone makes up their mind. I pray that Hillary Clinton and the Democrats can win. I think we can also win back the Senate because the Republican policies are terrible. I mean, I think some of them are very bad. I'm sorry to say that they are prejudicial or they're racist or they are discriminatory. But I mean, the Republican policies are bad, so bad. Healthcare. Then they want to get rid of the Department of Education. The Republican policy, and then they want to do with the Department of Education. We need to put more to education. So we need to look for my book, 24/7 sleep inspection. See the way the global warming, the nuclear missile boomerang age, and we have some music coming out. President of the Rapid Walk and Gospel Christian Peace. I have some gospel music that you can get by going to Amazon.com or Tidal. Put it in my name, Peter Hessing. We have some other music coming out, Boomerang and Anchor Bullet, yes, Winnie, and Reggae Cowboy. But as a Christian, we have to bring all the peoples up together. We can't let anger and hatred divide us. We have to bring Republicans and Democrats and third parties, all the peoples up together. American Russians, North Koreans, Africans, Jamaican Americans, Africans. We really have to stop the discrimination against blacks, African Americans, and Jamaicans and West Indians. There's too much discrimination against West Indian Americans and Jamaican Americans. We have to stop that and stop the killing of innocent blacks by mistakes by the police. We really need to have a 24/7 system that can prevent innocent, unarmed people from being shot down by the police. But I recommended to President Obama, I wrote to President Obama about it, creating this 24/7 monitoring by the Justice Department or police activity. And that would help to prevent the killing. We're going to talk more about this, and I pray to God that we can make the right decision. Everybody has to make up their own mind. I don't want to tell anybody how to vote. But my position is that I don't believe on the Democrats. The better choice. They are true. Thank you, God bless you. The blessing of the Lord Jesus. Peace. Pastor Peter Christmas.